Continuando con las entrevistas acá en NAM Show, soy Lucas Gordon y tenemos acá a Lisa Johnson, que es una escritora que ha hecho un par de libros muy importantes. Tengo uno acá que lo voy a mostrar ahora. Lisa, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
I'm glad to see you here at the NAM Show.
Yeah, welcome to NAM. Welcome to 108 Rockstar Guitars.
Yeah. So you just released not too far ago this book. Tell us about it.
Sure. This is my second book. It's called Immortal Axes, Guitars That Rock. And Peter Frampton wrote the foreword for it, talking about his Les Paul that was lost for 32 years and he found it after all this time and aptly named it Phoenix because it rose from the ashes. And Suzi Quatro wrote the afterword for it, female woman in rock, the queen of rock and roll. The first woman to really break out and make it in the rock and roll scene. And it also encompasses bands like Metallica, Iron Maiden, all of their guitars, Def Leppard, the Beatles, and also other individual artists. Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, Les Paul's original Black Booty is in it, Tony Iommi's Monkey SG. Name your favorite guitar player, he's probably in it.
Bueno, todo este libro salió hace poco, salió hace unos meses y bueno, las palabras de inicio las ha hecho Peter Frampton, que reencontró una Gibson. Lo que entendí es que se había reencontrado una Gibson Les Paul muy vieja que estaba buscando, si no me equivoco, y las palabras del final son de Suzi Quatro, que fue la primera mujer que logró fama en la música del rock. Y bueno, ahora le voy a preguntar un par de cositas más, le voy a preguntar cómo la puede conseguir la gente y cuánto cuesta. So, how people can get the book?
The easiest way to get it is on Amazon.com. And if anyone does order it on Amazon and they'd like to have a signed copy, they just can send me a message on my Instagram, LSJ Rock Photos, and say, hey, I bought your book, send me a book plate. And then I will custom sign it and send it to you. So I'll mail it to you and you can just stick it in your book. So that's how you can get a signed copy. If you're at NAMM today, you can come to my booth. We actually have a great book signing today with Pearl Thompson from The Cure and Dave Ellefson from Megadeth. They'll be here today from 1:30 to 3 signing books with me. And and all your major book retailers are carrying it, so you can get it pretty much anywhere.
Bueno, ya lo escucharon, lo pueden encontrar en internet. Si le escriben a ella en Instagram, okay, ella puede mandarles una plaquita que se puede pegar firmado, okay. Dijo que si lo quieren agarrar hoy acá, pero bueno, esto no va a salir en ese momento. Pero bueno, básicamente en internet, sino en las librerías, al menos acá de Estados Unidos, fuera de Estados Unidos, por internet. Le voy a preguntar alguna anécdota. Any funny, cool story that you can tell us?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Yeah. I guess I really love the story about how I got Suzi Quatro to write the afterword, because I had flown to London to photograph her bass, and immediately after I left her house, I was going to photograph Steve Marriott's guitar, who played with Peter Frampton in Humble Pie. And as I was leaving her house, I said, you know, I'm on my way to photograph Steve Marriott's guitar. And she goes, that's cool. And I said, yeah, what's really cool is that Peter Frampton wrote the foreword for the book, and I'm working with you right now, and now I'm going to photograph Steve Marriott's guitar. It's kind of interesting timing. And she said, yeah, that's cool. She said, well, you know, I used to work with Peter Frampton. When I first moved to the UK to record my very first album, we had to hire session musicians because I didn't have a band. And so my manager ended up hiring Peter Frampton, who was a session musician at the time, to do some guitar work on my album. And I loved him so much, I had said to my manager, I'd like to hire him to be my man. And he said, Suzi, he is amazing, but there can only be one star in the band, and it's got to be you. And that's what a true manager would say, you know, he had to promote his artist. And at that time, though, he recognized Peter Frampton's talent. And so off I went and photographed Steve Marriott's guitar. While I was driving to Steve's, I thought to myself, she needs to write that afterword for this book with that story, because Peter had already written the foreword at that point. Yeah. So I thought about it. When I got back home, I edited the photos and I sent them to her and I told her my idea and I just said, I really feel like your words would be so great in the book as the afterword with Peter being in the foreword. And she said, I totally get it. I see it and yes, I want to work with you. So it's a beautiful story.
Bueno, la historia es que habló con Susi 4 para hacer me cuenta la historia de esa, ¿no? Que Susi había grabado el primer disco con Peter Frampton y ya las palabras de Peter Frampton las tenía y faltaban las palabras de cierre. Entonces le dijo, voy a hacer una fotografía, porque son fotografías de guitarras, de Steve Marriott, que estuvo en Humble Pie, bueno, estuvo con Peter Frampton. Y le contó de que ella lo contrató a Peter Frampton cuando era sesionista y bueno, le contó ella la historia de que tenía las palabras de inicio y bueno, al final accedió a hacer las palabras de cierre. Voy a mostrar un poquito el libro, ¿ok? Yeah, thank you. ¿Ok? Básicamente son...
Albert Lee's guitars. Albert Lee, which is so funny, he's got a Telecaster guitar and he had Les Paul sign the front of it and Les Paul said, now you got a Les Paul.
Bueno, Albert Lee tenía una Gibson y una Telecaster y la hizo firmar por Gibson. Bueno, hay un montón de Elvis. Es básicamente un libro de fotografías, ¿ok? De Frank Hannon de Tesla, sí, Dave Ruth, yeah. Así que bueno, básicamente eso es lo que van a ver si son fanáticos de las guitarras, van a poder este libro que está muy bueno.
I just ran into Doyle Bramhall at a yoga class. He's a very spiritual guy, he practices yoga, happened to be in Las Vegas, and we're doing yoga together. I didn't have any idea it was him. I didn't recognize him because he looks different, and it was dark. And after the class, I complimented him on his voice. We were chanting, doing mantras. I said, I love your voice. It's really, I love the depth. And he said, thank you. I'm actually a singer, and I just came off tour. I'm like, oh, who are you touring with? He goes, Eric Clapton. I go, oh, what's your name? He goes, Doyle Bramhall. I'm like, I photographed your guitar years ago. And his hair used to be like a bigger afro, and it's not now.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
It was funny too. Yeah. Bueno, ahí contó otra historia también, que se encontró con este muchacho que estaba de tour con Eric Clapton y no lo reconoció y le había sacado fotos a su guitarra y bueno, estuvo ahí en una clase de yoga. Lisa, thank you for the interview.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much. Come back anytime.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.